Are we ready? Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Happy Thanksgiving week, everybody. Thank you for coming and joining us. I'm going to go ahead and open up for our first public comment. During this public comment portion of the agenda, it has to be limited to matters on the agenda for action. Each person has up to 5 minutes to speak. Do I have anybody who would like to speak? Perfect. Hearing and seeing no one, I'm going to go ahead and close this portion of the agenda. Agenda item number 1, approval of the minutes for September meeting.
Madam Chairman, I just wanted to let the members know that there was a slight change in the minutes, and the amended version is in front of you on the dais.
Thank you. Do I have a motion for approval?
Move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. We're going to move on to agenda item number 2, items pertaining to the Boulder City Municipal Golf Course. Do we have any questions regarding the operational reports? So loud. Okay, no questions. I have a motion to approve those operational reports.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Perfect. Motion carries. Discussion and possible action regarding, no, I apologize. We are going to go ahead and receive verbal report from Director.
Thank you. Well, the weather has been excellent over the past few months, and play seems to be up at the golf course. Typical maintenance items at this time of the year, including trimming of the trees. We're picking up a lot of leaves on the course. As you can see, the trees are turning and they're dropping, and we got to get those leaves up before they start moving around and flooding the ponds and all that good stuff. So they're working on picking up the leaves. They're working on the traps, sand traps. They'll go in there and cut the outside part of the traps and, fluff it up a bit. They're working on broken heads, and I guess the weather seems to be on the change, and hopefully it won't get too bad, but I hear a storm front's moving in this week, and with the winds and everything, and that has a tendency to limit golf at the course. But it's been busy, and a lot of people have been playing. It's been nice weather. So, any questions?
Awesome. Thank you, Director Hall. We're going to move on to agenda item number 3, items pertaining to the Recreation Division of the Parks and Recreation Department. Do we have any questions about the operational report given? Perfect. Do I have a motion to approve those operational reports?
Approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we'll go ahead and receive verbal report from Program Coordinator Jennifer Spinkling.
Thank you. The biggest thing we have, the Art Center, Robin, the coordinator there, retired, and at this time we have decided not to hire anybody to replace her, and I've assumed the administrative end of the operations there. We have Julie Connell, who's one of the pottery instructors, has taken over the firing of the pottery pieces, and then hired Diane Ricks to teach adult fine art, which was one of Robin's classes. And she's got 8 students in her morning class that was Robin's, and then she also started a Wednesday evening that already has 4 students. And Corinne Berner was another instructor down there who took Robin's fine art prep class, and the class has been full at least the last 2 months, perhaps the last 3 months. I had to beg her to take 2 extra students this month because they had been taking, and other students came and signed up before they did. So she had a dozen students this month. And I've been talking with another instructor because Corinne doesn't want to do a second class, but I'm looking at trying to add a second class for that age group and make sure that we're meeting all those needs of the kids, because it seems like art is something that they don't take on a regular basis at school, like when I was in school. At least that's how I understand it. And then we also have some homeschool moms who are using it as their kids' art portion of their curriculum. We also hired Linda Schaefer, who has a lot of different classes that she's going to offer under Art on Demand, where you get 3 friends. You can discuss times and availability with Linda, and she'll schedule around what works for you. A lot of times when you get a specialized class, to find enough people to make the class go at a certain time, everybody's got different schedules. So this, if you find a few friends, she'll schedule it. She offers 6 different things they can choose from. So I think it's a neat concept, something new, something different. And both of those people are part of our local Boulder City Art Guild, as well as our pottery instructors are as well. And so we've been talking with them about them using the art center. Currently, they use the multi-use building one Saturday a month, and then they use the Smith building one day a month as well for their member meetings. So we've kind of talked with them about having those activities happen at the art center, kind of where art happens. Maybe they should be. And they are super excited. And one of the reasons I had looked at it is the multi-use building on Saturdays is the one revenue maker that we have, that we rent out on a very regular basis. And so for them to take one Saturday a month is basically 25% of our Saturdays for the entire year. So this opens up the MUB for rentals. I don't know how many times people call to rent it, and we say, oh, the Art Guild's in there. And then they have generously offered to give us 10% of their class revenue when they have a class in there. So we would already be ahead of where we're at with where they're currently doing it, because they're a nonprofit, so they do not pay a use fee when they use a facility. They would have classes there probably one Saturday a month, plus they would have availability to kind of expand their horizons as well. That's what I have with the Art Center. I don't know if I should ask you if you have questions about that before I go on to others.
Anyone have any questions about the art?
Okay. Safe Key, we're having a staff change. Our coordinator from that program has resigned and taken another job, and so the part-time, or his assistant coordinator, we have promoted her, and she'll be the new coordinator. Some exciting things happening there. The library comes to us once a week to the school. They bring books, games, and it's been a great partnership that they started over the summer, and they've carried it through to coming to the school too, as well as Mr. Jim, who teaches hip hop. Our numbers are continuing to remain strong. Our mornings are up a lot. We used to, maybe 20 kids. We have about 35 in the morning before school. Today they went to the new Boulder City Candy Company and made little stuffed animals. That was really fun. So new business, and introduced all those kids to that today. Next big thing we have is Santa Claus. We work with Sunrise and Noon Rotary, and we'll take 20 kids to Penny's to shop for clothes, and then they get to go to UNLV for a fun event, and that's December 5th. I feel like I told you in September about Mary's fitness test. She had 10 people come, and I think 4 or 5 were her students from her class, and they did very well, and I think they felt a sense of accomplishment to realize how far they've come since they've started coming to her class. But she's got it planned to do it in either January or February, and then do the rock, roll, and stroll with the senior center. It's an event in the park in March. And then another new class we had was Kinder Gym, and same thing, it's been full for the last couple months, so we're kind of excited about that. Tiny Tots, we have a little bit of room in our 4 and 5-year-old class and our 3 and 4. I think The school opened up the enrollment in their free program at school, so I think we took another little hit with that, but it's not, I mean, we're 4 from being full, but, and that class is going real well. The only other thing I have is Danbury. Carla, get it on your calendar, but our first meeting of the new year will be on January 22nd. If anybody else is interested in joining our
I'll always put it in my calendar.
22nd at 5 o'clock at the Creek. And that's all I have for you, unless you have questions for me.
I do.
Go ahead, Mike.
Jennifer, I've noticed that the Safe Key really kind of kicked off in May, or at least significantly increased.
That's
Revenue.
because it starts full days, so kind of almost doubles our revenue. A full day is $20, whereas most parents pay $10 for an afternoon. Mm-hmm. So yes, summer months goes way up.
Yeah, it seems like it's done great. I mean, I've heard lots of compliments about it too, so, or a few, or a few.
Well, thank you. I'm proud of what they're doing there.
And it just looks, in addition, like this is going to be maybe the record year for revenue from the activities, including, everything else, bootleg and the rest of it. But if you project it out, it's going to be financially a good year. So.
Yes, I've been looking at the Safe Key, and we are ahead of the ball game. And also on the Arts Center, we also are up on our revenue.
That's good.
I think we're already at what we had in for the whole year. We're about halfway there with only, when I looked at it, about 4 months. So I feel like we're ahead on that too.
Great job, Jennifer. I had a quick question for you. For your Danbury committee meeting, are you looking for public volunteers to help with that?
Absolutely.
Are you looking just for brainstorming ideas, volunteers, all
All
of
of
the
that.
above? Okay.
The first meeting in January is a lot of brainstorming, and we start throwing out ideas for the theme. We do come up with a theme each year, and it is kind of everybody sitting around throwing out ideas, and we come up with a theme. So it's that on a regular basis, different people taking on things that they'd like to be involved in. Sometimes it takes a little bit for somebody to find out where they'd like to help out. Sometimes we pull somebody in to help out, and then they end up joining the committee, which actually Mac Murphy, the Safe Key coordinator that resigned, on his last day, he said, I do still want to help out with the Danbury committee, if that's okay. Yes!
Perfect. Now, that committee, it's just there's no interference with like a city-wide. They can still do
Correct.
in that. Perfect.
It's a committee outside of the
Outside of
city.
that, just a nice title.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions for Jennifer? Awesome. We'll go ahead and move on to 3C, verbal report from sports coordinator, but it looks like Kelly is not here. So will you go ahead and...
All right, so we are in the middle of our flag football season. We play games through December 11th. We have 5 teams in our 3rd through 5th grade division and 4 teams in our 6th through 8th. We play games on Mondays and Wednesdays in the evening down at Vets Memorial Pratt Field. The sports department too just hosted our annual turkey shoot down in the ABC Park Gym. There's a lot of success in that one, a lot of turnout for that one. There's a picture in there of a winner. We're also getting ready for our basketball clinic on December 14th in the new gym. We play that early January through February. And we'll partner with Boulder City High School. Last year, some of our boys went down and played a mini game during a varsity halftime. And so this year we're trying to get the girls involved in that too. Gibson Orthodontics and the Hoover Dam Lodge sponsor that one. And it's turning out pretty well. For kindergarten through 2nd grade, floor hockey starts in January. We're having our clinic on the first Saturday in January, and our opening ceremony is the 25th of January. This program, too, is becoming very, very popular. Last year we had 10 teams, and we anticipate more this year. And Boulder City Sunrise Rotary is supporting that one again. For adult sports, the women's Monday night volleyball league ended last Monday. We hosted 8 teams this year, which is more than we've had in the past. And then co-ed softball will finish our fall season on December 8th with a double elimination tournament. And we had 5 teams in that this season, which is 2 of them have never played before, so we had a lot of interest in that. Our men's basketball starts early January, and we have a meeting on December 12th for that one. And we're also getting ready for our annual dodgeball tournament. It's on December 14th, and all the proceeds of that one go to emergency aid. And that is all I have.
You said December 14th was the dodgeball.
For the dodgeball, yeah.
So put it on your calendars. We have a Parks and Rec Commission team.
I actually did give you a
Mike's the
sign-up
captain.
sheet that you can see.
Yes, she did give you your sign-up sheet.
So I need your team name before we end.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, Jamie, was there, who sponsored the turkey shoot?
The Albertson sponsored that one. They gave $25 gift cards to the winners in each of our divisions. 15, sorry.
Thanks.
The flag football, is that co-ed?
Co-ed, yep. Yeah, the girls seem to really enjoy that one.
Especially since they've got such a great program going on in the high school. So I think they're anxious to move up into that program.
A lot of the coaches are doing a pretty good job getting them involved, and yeah.
Any other questions for Jamie? Perfect. Thank you so much. We will go ahead at this time and receive Parks verbal report from Parks and Recreation Manager Julie Calloway.
Thank you. I've provided everyone with the list of the special events for the next 12 months, so you can see that we're very busy. And of course, the first week of December is especially busy with everything going on with the holidays fast approaching. Upcoming projects that I've mentioned before, but are still in the works. The shade installation for Veterans Memorial Park ball fields, and I'm passing around a picture just to kind of give you an idea of where those are going to be located. There'll be 2 shade structures for each of the 4 fields. Also coming down is a picture of the improvements that we're doing with a new ramp installation at Veterans Memorial Park. And you can see that wood structure is going to all be placed together. Yes, there will be guardrails at the top, so while you're on your skateboard or on your BMX bike, you can feel very confident that you can go down that hill and not have any issues or go backwards. Another nice feature about this new ramp is they've moved the location of the structure up about 2 feet. The reason being is with the irrigation, watering, not that the irrigation is not, shooting the correct direction, but with our winds, et cetera, we do have that overspray. So they're putting a new coating on the exterior surface of it, plus moving it in a little bit so that the condition will hopefully last a little bit longer with the wind and the rain and the water. I wanted to let everybody know that we will be having a new part-time department secretary in our office. So hopefully the next meeting, he or she will be here taking the minutes instead of me and handling some of the other administrative stuff that we get to do, accounts receivable, accounts payable, budgets, and et cetera. And I wanted to update everyone on disc golf. So far to date, our disc golf course, which is located at Boulder Creek, has produced revenue of over $8,500. We have had 2 golf tournaments so far since the first one, which was the end of July, and then I know that there's at least 2 more that are already scheduled for next spring. So that is continuing to, be a successful addition to the Boulder Creek Golf Course. And that is all I have.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions for Julie?
Julie, I'd just like to my grandson would like to thank you for the new ramps at the skate park, and I'd like to thank you for the guardrail on the back of them.
Glad I could help.
All right, moving on to agenda item number 4, items pertaining to the Aquatics Division of the Parks and Recreation Department. Do we have any questions regarding the operational reports? Any discussion? May I have a motion to approve those operational reports?
I move.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. We will go ahead and receive a verbal report from Sheree Brennan on the classes and events.
Thank you. So I just brought some materials up there. We're updating some of our statistical methods. It kind of started with the pool ad hoc committee and some of their requests and questions, and it will help me and my staff and you as commissioners kind of have a clearer picture of the usage at the pool of the whole facility. And going forward, we'll do like the bi-monthly similar report. I haven't figured out a better way to do this, so right now you have the whole year up to through October. So some financials, class statistics, and then those calendars have, you can see a daily usage, whether somebody's using racquetball courts, watching people swim, or using the vending machine, or people actually in the pool. So I hope that makes some sense. Personnel-wise, we have one new lifeguard who's in high school, but I am still in need of some morning folks. I have one person leaving for the Air Force probably in January, and another employee whose college schedule is getting more challenging in January. So if you know people who are able to work in the morning, please get the word out. I've had some really good reports on our new aerobics instructor. He teaches in a very different manner than other people have in the past. And interestingly, our second class each day, or it's only Tuesday, Thursdays now, but our second class is called low intensity, and they're actually working harder than our earlier class, which is called high intensity. So it's kind of interesting. And I think some of it is people's perception, and they like what they used to have and don't have that anymore. So we've had a few people that are not as happy, but overall people are happy. And I can just see that he's really done a good job when I'm out there observing and the comments I'm getting from people. We are in the process of changing our Learn to Swim classes a little bit so that they're more closely following the American Red Cross standards. We started developing a true preschool aquatics program, so Carla, let's get those children in there. So we started in November offering a preschool 1, and it's for 3 to 5-year-olds. And it is only 30 minutes in length, so hopefully we're really capturing their attention and keeping the skills at a level that they're better able to learn and assimilate. Facility news. We're having issues with the blower that holds the bubble up. It's holding the bubble up, so no worries there, and we do have a backup blower that's working fine, but there's, they thought it was a transformer. Public Works has been working on this. They thought it was a transformer that's causing it to, this is a really technical term, trip. And so it's not heating the air constantly. So it was cool this morning. I had to get them over there again to work on that. And they're working with the technical division or whatever of the manufacturer, trying to get the troubleshooting done there. The only other issue that we've had recently is with the gas, the natural gas. We've had a number of people comment that they're smelling gas. It's not a gas leak, but I did have Southwest Gas out. Tested or sniffed around, tested the pressure, lines are fine. They determined that a regulator needed to be replaced. But because of that, because they had to shut everything down, I couldn't turn the pool heater back on. It has a safety feature when, this happens, that happens, and so on, that locks itself out. And that was, what day was that? That was the 15th. So by Monday morning, the 18th, the water was pretty cool. And I have to get a technician out to take care of that. He was able to get there by noon, but it took about a day to get that water back up to normal. And, oh, the last thing I handed you, at the last meeting, you were inquiring about dollars pertaining to repairs. And this isn't specifically what you asked for, but I gave you a little bit of extra. So I went back to 2018. There were a number of items that needed to be taken care of in 2018, even though you were asking for 2019. Oh, did that? Okay. So 2019 has been actually not bad in the way of repairs and what they cost. Some of the items I don't have dollar amounts because Public Works with their new people have taken over some of the things. And I was talking to Dave Stanton today and he didn't have hard numbers for me. So hopefully we can track that and see, you know, what it's, at least the labor hours and see, hopefully we'll get a picture of what the city's saving by having those folks in-house rather than needing to call an outside contractor. I did include at the top, I went back and I saw that there were several repairs, repeated repairs on the pumps, and I don't know specifically what those were for, but I tallied up about $11,000 in those years on the pumps, and that was not including the impellers that needed to be replaced during that time. So those, we haven't had to replace an impeller since 2017, I think. And those are about $2,500 each. We do have two on hand should that situation arise, but that's all I have. If you have any questions, please.
Thank you for doing all that work and getting those numbers to us.
Does it make sense? I hope.
Yes.
Okay.
One question. When you said that it wasn't bad for 2019, is that compared to previous years?
Yes. So I replaced a pool vacuum, drain covers, those have to be replaced every 5 years per health district requirements. So I had the dive tank needed to be replaced in 2019. I did include over the summer, we had the issues with the filter grids not staying in place and cracking and so forth. So we replaced a total of 5 during the July and August. Those are $485 each, and then shipping on top of that, of course. Each time we have to do, let me start over. Each time that happened, as well as each time we do a backwash, we have somebody come in and help with that. Actually, not help. I'm there to help him if he needs it, but he really doesn't. We pay him $800 each time. So that did add up over the summer with those issues.
Perfect.
Didn't you have pool blankets again this year, though?
Yes.
Earlier this year?
Yes. My last note on the back page, I actually purchased 5, 3 for the main. I purchased 8, 5 for the main pool, 3 for the dive tank, and so that runs 12 to 15,000 plus shipping to replace those, and they last, as best as I could go back and research, 4 to 5 years.
Question, with the whole Southwest Gas and the pool not being heated, you said you had to have someone come in to restart it. You had to have someone come back from Southwest Gas, or you had to have someone from within the city come?
Neither. This was Knorr, Knorr, is the company that I have service the heater when it needs it, and I had to call their technician.
Okay.
When it locks out, I don't have a way to get in, even though I have a code for to get into the menu, but this is beyond that. This is opening up the front panel and doing what all
Thank
they
you.
do.
Anybody have any other questions for Ms. Brennan? Perfect. Thank you so much. At this time, we're going to go ahead and move on to verbal report from Parks and Recreation Director Roger Hall.
Thank you. This is in regards to the Pool Ad Hoc Committee. I wanted to let you know that we've had 2 meetings with the Municipal Pool Ad Hoc Committee, one on October 15th and the other on November 19th. And meetings are scheduled for the third Tuesday of each month, starting at 4 o'clock in the City Council chambers here. We had discussed a variety of topics during our 2 meetings. I started off with a little history of the Boulder City Pool and the new aquatics complex process, how we got to where we were with that S&H architecture. Financial reports regarding the fund for a new aquatics complex was done by our finance department. A tour of the existing facility that we offered was very well received down there, and it opened up a variety of eyes on what we're dealing with down there at the swimming pool. Timelines associated with bond issues or ballot questions for the new aquatic complex was also discussed. There's certain dates, drop dead dates that we have to follow in order to get certain items on for a bond question or a ballot question. There was also, at the last meeting on November 19th, there was a presentation by Mike Mentinko regarding Murtha Pools. And right now there's, and Murtha Pool is a stainless steel pool, which is PVC coated, which can be put together really, really fast, really easily. And currently in Las Vegas, there's a major world swim meet that's going on. And at the end of that meet, there will be 2 swimming pools that would be available for purchase at a really reduced rate. And so we're kind of trying to get the numbers for that and see if there's any way possible, if that's the way we want to go, depending on what the committee has to say. Discussion regarding line item estimates and possibilities for cost reduction for the new aquatic center. They looked at the design and they kind of, Keegan had a formula with him, and they said, what if you take out the kitchen? How much would that save us? And he would, get a figure. And then, so they're looking at the cost reductions of the new aquatic center. And then we had an audit of the existing aquatic facility by the Southern Nevada Health District, and a presentation by the district listing the requirements necessary to bring the current facility up to code. It was very enlightening at the last meeting. The city is recording the meetings, and for commissioners and residents may want to view these meetings, and you can look at the Boulder City website, www.bcnv.org, and find, and watch the meeting if you'd like. And as I mentioned, the next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, December 17th at 4 p.m., starting in the City Council chambers. So it's progressing, and we'll see what the committee comes up with.
I'm sorry, would you give us the time again?
Yes, the next meeting is scheduled for December 17th at 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
In the City Council chambers
Thank you.
here.
Does anybody have any questions for Director Hall regarding the ad hoc committee?
Roger, just one, you mentioned a drop dead date for a bond issue or financing. 2 years from now or a year from now? Or?
Well, there's two dates. I think we're kind of missing the first date because we'd have to get right on it and submit. If we want the ballot question, I think we're too soon in the process with this committee to even think about that, because they have to decide what kind of pool they want. Is it a year-round operation? There's a lot of factors needing to be discussed and determined prior to going out. So I think the first one, which is 2020, is not going to be possible. The next one is 2021. And depending on if it's a bond issue or a ballot question, that might be possible, but you're going to have to get started on those quickly. You don't want to wait till the last minute.
I had a quick question for you, Director Hall.
Yes.
Those new pools that you were discussing, the aluminum ones coated in PVC, if they were to go with that option, would it sit into our existing pool, over top of our existing pool, Where would that?
Well, when in talking with the gentleman who had the presentation, he said that you can do it 2 ways.
Okay.
You can dig a foundation and put the pool in the foundation, or you could, cover over what you have and then build it, on top of that. But that would be a little high in my opinion. I think, making a hole and putting it in there, and they can develop the size. The size are modular, so you can make it deeper or shallower. It's a pretty neat concept. These pools are designed to be put on skyscrapers. They're very light in weight. Okay, and they're used for places where, like on the second floor of a building or on the top of a building, so he offered for staff to go down and take a look at how they put it together, and they're doing that in December. So we've been invited to go down and take a look. I know Public Works is probably going to send a building maintenance person down there to take a look at how they put them together. But it looks like a pretty good concept, and they have pools all over the world with this design.
So is that more of a temporary deal, or is that a permanent?
This is a permanent deal.
Will they be sending in a representative from the ad hoc committee to go with Parks and Rec, the building maintenance?
Yeah, if you'd like to see that, I mean, Parks and Rec.
Not just. I'm sorry, that question came out wrong. Somebody from the pool committee ad hoc who's making those decisions now, or was somebody from that committee?
Yes,
okay.
Yes. The invitation went out to the staff and also the ad hoc committee. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Any other questions for Director Hall?
Yeah, do we know on this pool, do we have a lifetime? Is there, how long until it has to be recoded? Those kinds of things?
I think they said it had to be recoded in 15 years, but the life expectancy is, what did they say, 30 to 40 years? So.
Perfect. And if there are any other questions, I'm sure we can always go and ask.
Yeah.
I was going to ask if, what do you see as a downside to this? It seems like it's thin. Am I right? So would it lose heat through the ground? I mean, is it?
No, because they have the way they build it up, you can walk around the outside part of it, or they'll have some sort of viewing section, because that's where all the support beams are. So they have to keep track of that. So I'm sure they have some sort of something where you lift up and you can crawl in there to inspect it or whatever. I don't know. I haven't really seen it. I'd like to go down and take a look and see what they're talking about.
And I'm sure we can always go to that next meeting and ask those kinds of questions as well to the people that were presented with that option, correct?
Yes, that's
Perfect.
correct.
Thank you. Any other questions for Director Hall? Perfect. Okay, at this time, we'll go ahead and move on to agenda item number 5. We will receive verbal report from Director Hall on the Bootleg Canyon.
First of all, I'd like to go over the flight line. The number of riders were up from October of 2018 to October of 2019. There was 536 riders went down the flight line in 19 compared to the 476 in 2018. So, good news. There, ridership is up for the month. There were 9 wind cancellations in 2019 compared to 12.5 in 2018. So the wind really plays a factor in limiting the number of people going down the mountain on that. So they're still in operation, and it looks like the ridership has improved for October of this year. So.
Any questions for Director Hall? Thank you, Director Hall. At this time.
One more, yeah.
Absolutely.
Events at Bootleg Canyon, where we have so many events at Bootleg Canyon, I'd like to go over them. Let's see here. Could you please? Thank you. On November 2nd, we had an obstacle race in the detention basin with over 10,000 participants. Now, we had a meeting. They parked at the old airport site. Thousands of cars, buses came, picked them up, took them up to Bootleg Canyon, dropped them off, and made the circle back to the parking lot. This was very successful. They've already signed up for next year, and we made some pretty good money from this event. And basically, they come in a couple days before the event, set up their obstacle course in the detention basin, so it's not affecting any of the existing land. They develop their course, they have their event, and then they take it down in a couple days. So it's a great use of the detention basin, and we inspect it after to make sure that they put it back just like they found it. And I've given you some pictures of some of the setup and some pictures of the event that Chuck will be passing around. We had the EOD dedicated cycle event on November 2nd on the River Mountain Loop Trail. River Mountain Loop Trail is getting very popular, and we have to coordinate because there's 3 entities that use that. There's the National Park Service, there's City of Boulder City, and the City of Henderson. So when an event comes through, they have to coordinate with all 3 entities if they want to go, completely around. And we do have some of those. So November 12th, we had the Women Tour bike ride at the River Mountain Loop Trail. November 15th, we had a mountain bike group ride on the maintenance on the mountain, the main mountain. And November 16th, we had Bikes in Your Blood charity ride on the River Mountain Loop Trail. That's 5 events and some good marketing and some good exposure for Boulder City. So that's the end of my report.
Does anybody have any questions for Director Hall?
Have we heard back from Interbike?
Yeah, Interbike, you remember they left a couple years ago and signed a contract with Lake Tahoe, and they went up there for 1 year, and then they canceled the event. Totally. Because of the internet, you can buy a bike on the internet. You don't need to go and, unless you want to ride them, which is, I thought, if you're spending that kind of money on a big bike, you want to see how it rides. But they decided to, Emerald Exhibitions decided to cancel the event. So.
Thank you. Mike?
Roger, my question is on flight lines. I don't quite understand the relationship. Is there a per ride fee that Boulder City gets from that?
That's correct. There is. We have a contractor agreement with them approved by City Council, and we're following the contract, and they provide a list of riders, and we get a price per rider.
Sure.
For use of the mountain. Yeah.
Seems like you guys have done a great job on marketing what Boulder City has to offer.
Well, that's a big part of it. You can jump from a plane, you can ride the flight lines, you're next to Lake Mead, you can play on 3 golf courses. There's a lot we have to offer here in Boulder City. 17 parks, beautiful ball fields, aquatic facility. Old, but good. We have a lot to offer here.
Good job.
Thank you. Any other questions for Director Hall? Thank you. Moving on to agenda item number 6, Parks and Recreation Commission reports concerning facilities, maintenance issues, and various operations at community events. This is the time where us as commissioners can bring forward any concerns we've heard in the community. Do we have anybody that has any concerns, questions, suggestions? Topics of conversation.
I have sorry, I had 4 thoughts go through my head, and I'm trying to sort them out. I'm wondering if we haven't heard about the cameras lately around the parks, and how that is going, if that's helping with deter people from vandalism.
Well, we have cameras at Veterans Memorial Park, which we're in operation. We have cameras at Hemingway Park. And yes, we found certain people doing certain things. We've videoed a dog attack that was used in a court case that the police department persecuted the person for not having the dog on a leash. And so it is paying off. I think the people are seeing that we have cameras. Their vandalism is down at the facilities because they know cameras are there and they could possibly get caught on camera doing something that they're not supposed to be doing. So yes, it does make a difference.
Good.
Yeah.
The dog attack at Hemingway, it wasn't on a sheep, was it?
No, excuse me, it was a dog attack at Veterans Memorial Park. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Dogs are not allowed at Hemingway Park, so I hope, no, that's correct.
Well, we were down there today.
Yeah. Well, if you see that, call the police, because that's prohibited by NRS or our regulations.
Any other questions or concerns that need to be brought forward?
I do have a couple things, if I may.
Absolutely.
You know, we're doing some work at the swimming pool too. As you know, we switched from gas chlorine to liquid chlorine, and then from liquid to tab. But we have some of the mechanical, in the mechanical room, a lot of the piping that we're removing, and I'll you want to pass these out? I'm sorry, here. You might as well pass this all out. These are all different, and then this is a break-in, so we'll be talking about. Thank you, Julie. You're the best. Okay, so I forgot what they were. No.
Vandalism.
Yeah. So we've been having, we had vandalism at the Arts Center, and the guy must have, or the person must have got excited or something, but he left the crowbar in the window when we found it, and that's what you see right there. And so what Chuck has in his hands at the swimming pool, we're getting rid of the tubing and stuff for gas chlorine and putting on a hard structure. It'll prevent things from happening and breaking that we don't really want happening in the mechanical room. We're just trying to clean it up a bit. We did some work at the Wayland Field, which is, the Public Works did a great job in coordinating the removal of the existing backstop, which has been there for 40 some years. It was there when I first got here, but I made some pictures from the start to the finish, which I think you should see. Also, the kids are out of school, and today we had a lot of vandalism at at Del Prado Park. We're on it, but it's like really kids. So that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Director Hall. Absolutely, go ahead, Mike.
Roger, one thing maybe on the vandalism end of it is the handrail from Wilbur Square going up the stairs toward the Bureau building. Somebody, maybe on a skateboard, broke that loose on the bottom. So that handrail is just flopping around.
We'll put a work order in on it. Thank you. And this is a perfect time when you do see things happening around the community. You can either call Julie or I and let us know, email us, or give us a phone call, because what we do is we put work orders out immediately to get those things fixed, because now that we know about it, it could be an issue, so we'll get that taken care of really quick. Thank you.
Roger, what else happened over at the baseball field? I noticed when it rained last week, it turned into a pool at the right field side. Did anybody say anything about that?
No.
All the red dirt
field?
had went into the driveway out there.
Oh, this is at which park?
Where the boys' baseball high school plays.
Okay, Wayland Field?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were out there working on it, but
yeah,
it was.
Well,
it took a lot of the dirt and was in the driveway.
Well, that rainfall, we normally get 4 inches a year. It went 2.5 inches in 10 hours.
Right.
And so we got half of our rainfall in one day. And so that does cause some issues, yeah.
Any other questions? Perfect. At this time, we're going to go ahead and move on to public comment. Do we have anybody in the public that would like to speak? Hearing and seeing no one, we're going to go ahead and close. Go ahead, Mr.
I do have one more thing I forgot to mention.
Absolutely.
Our Christmas and holiday events. Luminaria at the Rec Center, December 5th. Christmas tree lighting at Crow Park on December 6th. Doodlebug Bazaar at the Rec Center on December 7th.
And Santa.
Yep, pictures with Santa at the Rec Center on December 7th. And the Electric Night Parade starting at 4 o'clock on December 7th. So, a lot of activities coming up.
Thank you, public.
Thank you.
Hearing and seeing no one, I'll go ahead and close public comment. And at this time, if there's nothing else, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move.
To adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I say.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.